The Roc Taylor era in Pittsburgh ended before it even really began. That's right, the rookie UDFA was surprisingly released on Monday, but just a few hours later, we got news that could help explain exactly why it happened. Out of nowhere, the Pittsburgh Steelers announced on Monday that they released UDFA wide receiver Roc Taylor. The rookie had a fantastic training camp in Latrobe. This is somebody who was winning vertically, winning over the middle of the field, getting yards after the catch. He formed a great rapport with Will Howard, but honestly, that might have been his undoing because when Will Howard went down with injury, so did Roc Taylor's stock. He just simply wasn't able to find that same connection with any other signal caller, and more devastatingly to his Steelers tenure, he did not carry over what he did in Latrobe to the preseason. And we know Mike Tomlin values in-stadium, live action, in-game reps, and performances way more than he does what happens in practice. So while Roc Taylor was a camp darling, he was a significant playmaker. He didn't show up in those preseason games, and that's why the Steelers decided to cut ties. But there could be another reason, and that would be Gabe Davis. That's right. For the second time in 2 months, the Pittsburgh Steelers are bringing back Gabe Davis on an official visit. That's right. In early June, the Steelers, they met with Davis. All things went well, but there was some talk about some potential lingering injuries and that the two sides would meet up when the regular season approached. Well, here we are, just 2 weeks away on the season's doorstep. The Pittsburgh Steelers still need help in their wide receiver room. We just mentioned Roc Taylor's out, but what about Calvin Austin III? He returned to practice on Monday for the first time in nearly 3 weeks. You don't know what you're going to get from him at this point because anytime you miss that much time with an injury, you're potentially going to come back at least a snail's pace, if not worse. So, Gabe Davis, what does he bring to the Pittsburgh Steelers if he's signed? I implore you to go back and watch what he did to the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs a few years ago. One of the best statistical performances that we have seen from any wide receiver ever. He is a vertical threat, a true dynamic element on the outside, on the perimeter. So you're probably asking, well, if that's the case, then why in the world is he available this late into the offseason? We're almost at the regular season. We're in August. Why wasn't he signed back in March? Well, the Jaguars released him after a down year in 2024. Injuries, quarterback issues, you name it, it all went wrong in Jacksonville. Obviously, a new head coach is there. They decided to part ways, a new regime. Let's just move on. Gabe Davis, though, he's only 26 years old. He's not even 2 years removed from over 700 receiving yards. As I said, you watch what he did against the Chiefs in the playoffs with a significant quarterback, and you see a very, very capable vertical threat in this league. That one that would pair perfectly alongside DK Metcalf and slot in ideally into Arthur Smith's Z wide receiver role. So for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the news that Roc Taylor was released is both disappointing and surprising, but the optimism of what Gabe Davis would bring to the wide receiver core is something noteworthy in Pittsburgh.